Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. And thank you all for introducing yourselves in the chat. Good morning to everyone. We're going to get started. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to make sure, I'm going to ask again, is there anyone in the chat this morning who just joined CTEIS within the last week? New user within the last week? If you could drop your name in the chat, we're going to be doing some demos and the training a little bit later. And I want to make sure that you're able to access the demo screens. So we want to make sure that your login information is available to you. So if you are new, just dropped it in the chat. If not, welcome to all the other users. Welcome back. This is our spring task training. My name is Dewana McCreary, and I am your presenter for this morning. Also in the chat, we have Diana Terry, who is here on behalf of PTD Technology, and she's going to be monitoring our chat and reaching out to some of you. If you have questions regarding, you may have already dealt with her regarding scheduling. She's very helpful. So we want to say good morning to Diana. I'm going to be changing my screen over a couple of times throughout the training. We're going to demonstrate some of our procedures that we do for our spring tasks. So you may experience brief pauses where you do not hear audio. I have not left. If I do experience technical difficulties, I will try to let you know that as soon as possible, but you will hear some brief pauses while I'm changing over my screen or entering data in for our demos. So right now, I'm going to switch my screen over to our PowerPoint presentation. I'm also going to drop our PowerPoint slide link in the chat. So if you want to follow along, you can do that. So just give me a second to do that. Again, you're going to hear a brief pause. And we're back. Hopefully you can see the PowerPoint presentations on your screen. The first slide says CTEIS Spring Tasks. I've also dropped the PowerPoint link from our Knowledgebase in the chat, so you can click that link to follow along with what we're going to be discussing today. So hopefully I think everything's clear. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this is our agenda for today's training. We're going to do an introduction where we have all of our information as far as support resources. The next item we're going to do is what's new for CTEIS Spring 2024, new system updates, new things that you need to know. We're going to go over that. We're going to go over the tasks for the coming weeks. We are mentioning our spring training. I've mentioned that once. So for the spring, we're going to show you different tasks that you can prepare for your enrollment completion collection, which the deadline comes up in June. So we're going to go over things that you should be doing right now. We're going to go over some demos in our training site, as I mentioned earlier, to show you the procedures. And then we're going to recap some fall data entry topics. The last time we met, if you were in our training before, we went over courses, which was specific to fall data entry. So we didn't put in any students or work-based learning or credentials. So we're going to go over a couple of fall data entry topics to kind of catch you up so that you're all set to go for the enrollment collection where all of this has to be compiled together. And then we're going to go over some dates that are looking ahead. Like I said, we have our enrollment completion collection that's due in June. We have some MSDS deadlines, so we're going to go over that information. So the first slide we have is our introduction. And as I stated, our CTEIS support resources and PTD contact information, support.ctis.com, is the place that you want to go to for all your guides, your templates, and resource information. All of the guides that I go through today and the templates that I'm going to be using in today's training will be found on this site. The PowerPoint slides that I linked in the chat are also on the site. So all of the information that you need to do your process for the enrollment completion collection is found on the support.ctis.com site. For technical support, if you're in the CTEIS application and you run into any technical issues, please feel free to contact the CTEIS Help Desk. The email is on the screen, and you can call to speak with one of our help desk representatives. They're very helpful. If you have questions regarding policy, these are questions pertaining to why courses are set up the way they are, specific to rules and regulations with the career and technical education system. You need to reach out to Joan Church with policy questions. Her email is on the screen as well as her telephone number. And again, this information is throughout the CTEIS Knowledgebase, and I'll show you that in just a moment, but that information is here in the slides as well. So what's new for 2024? The most recent update that we have had within the last couple of months is the Managed Credentials update. It's not really anything different other than it's more efficient, faster, and easier to use. In this PowerPoint slide here, you can click this. This is a link that will take you directly to the Managed Credentials guide, and it has the updates in it. May look a little bit different. We're going to go through that demo a little bit later, but the functionality is still the same. It's just a little bit different, and maybe you can see a little bit more information in the screens. So far, that's the only update that we have for 2024. Everything else should be the same as we had for the spring task on last year. So the task for the coming weeks, this is our spring enrollment training. As I stated, the last training that we had in the fall was pertaining to fall data, which was your courses and staff. You only had to have your course and staff information entered in to send to your CPID administrator, who then sends it to OCTE. But for the enrollment completion collection that is due in June, there are several more components that need to be compiled for that report. So the task that you need to be taking care of within the next couple of weeks is that you verify that your CTE course sections are entered accurately. You want to make sure that your teachers are properly assigned to classes. You want to make sure that students have valid UICs. You want to make sure that students are enrolled in the correct courses and segment and competencies are verified. You want to start making sure that credentials are linked to your students correctly. and then that your work-based learning experiences are recorded. Now, specifically for credentials and work-based learning, that information within the upcoming weeks may not be available to you. Specifically, the credentials, credentials are not due to August, but we want you to start thinking about that information if you have that information available to you. So if you don't have it as of today, there's no worries, but make sure that you start working towards getting that information so that it's not a big task when the enrollment completion information is due. So this particular training is just to get you prepared for all of the things that you need to be doing to prepare for that enrollment completion collection. We will have another training session that begins, I believe, on April 16th is our first training session, which will specifically go over information pertaining to the enrollment and completion collection. So we'll go through all of the process of rechecking all of your courses, your students, your work-based learning, your credentials, and then we'll go specifically through the validation, where we'll go through the procedure of how you're supposed to submit that information to your CPET administrator. Everything that we go over today is from the aspect of the building reporter. So if you have the building reporter role, this is the information that you need to have and to be getting ready for that collection that's due in June. We also have other training for CPET administrators as well as level 5 fiscal agents that come up in May. So we want to make sure that all of that information is together so that you'll have that information in. As I stated earlier, the fall data entry topics recap. The following topics were not required during the fall data entry collection, but are due for the end of the year. And as I stated, the credentials, the work-based learning, the managed courses, and the managed students. Back in the fall, all we did was courses and staff. So going forward, we're going to make sure that you understand the procedures to put in the other components of the collection period. The next topic we're going to talk about is our enrollment entry demo. As I stated, we're going to be doing some demos in our training site. The training site is train.ctis.com. If you have your My Login credentials, you should be able to access this training site and practice some of the procedures that we go through without actually messing up your data. So this is a site that's useful to practice some of the procedures, and it won't actually interfere with your data. The demos that we're going to go over is the manage enrollment, including grades. We're going to show some importing procedures, which is including your courses, your students, and your grades. There is also available now, which wasn't not too long ago, a minimal import where if you want to just update, for instance, student grades, we can show you how to set up your import file where CTEIS only recognizes the minimal import for grades. So I have a demonstration of that. Migrant student data, if you have migrant students, this does not apply to everyone, but you want to make sure that all your migrant students are identified and data is collected. There is a migrant student report that is out there if you need to identify migrant students within your district. And I'll show you where you can find that information, but again, it does not apply to everyone. And then last is completing your report overview. As I stated, we're going to go into a full demonstration of how to complete your report in the next section of training, which is our enrollment and completion collection training. But today I'm going to show you some procedures that you can use to make sure that you don't have any errors and correct those errors in a timely fashion so that when the actual collection is due, you won't have a large pile of information that you need to verify. So we're going to go over those in the demo. Looking ahead, as I stated, the completing your spring enrollment collection, that is the next section of training that begins on April 16th. If you have not signed up for that training, we encourage you to do so. Again, there are a lot of information that we don't cover in this particular training that will be covered in that training. So you want to make sure that you sign up for a training session for that collection period. The enrollment deadline is May 10th. On May 10th, you have to make sure that all your students must be enrolled in at least one CTEIS course section with correct UICs. We will show in our demonstrations where you can utilize UIC with no MSDS reports, and there is a UIC checker in our CTEIS application, and we'll show those in the demo. But you want to make sure that you have your students in with correct UICs, and the MSDS fields must be up to date by May 10th. The reason of this date is you want to make sure that all of your students are in for funding. So you want to keep that date in mind. Again, looking ahead, the fiscal agent and CPID administrator, level 5 fiscal agent and CPID administrator training take place on May 29th. So there are some specific tasks that will not be discussed in this training that will be discussed in that training, specific for level 5 and CPID admins. So you want to make sure that you sign up for that training section. There are tasks that are different than we had in the previous fall training for fiscal agents and CPID admin. So we want to make sure that you remember that. And then, as I stated several times already, the end of the year completion date is due to your CPID administrator by June 13th. And then the CPID administrator submits that information to OCTE by June 20th. So now I'm going to switch my screen over to show you that Knowledgebase that I had mentioned, our support.ctis.com, where you can get all of that information that I stated, all of the resource information. So just give me a second. I'm going to go on a brief pause to get over to that screen. 1 second. So on your screen, you should see the home page of the CTEIS Knowledge Base. This is support.ctis.com. This is where you can get all of the guides that we're going to go through today. If you scroll down on the home screen, under the Explore Documentation section here, you can click these links, and these links will take you to the guides that are within this collection period. So if you want to view enrollment, this is where we're going to be today. You can click this link, and it'll take you to all of the enrollment guides. We have training videos, information about CTEIS reports, the newsletter. If you receive the emails, we do newsletters in specific seasons. The newsletters are all stored here. Follow-up expenditures, CPID admin, fiscal agent. Use these links to link to the guides pertaining to each category here. If you look over on the side, down the right panel, this is all of the due dates that we were discussing earlier. As I stated, all of the information pertaining to your end of the year completion entry. This is direct from the Office of Career and Technical Education. So these dates are the same dates that are on the OCTE calendar. So again, June 13th is when your end of the year completion entry is due to your CPIT administrator. The CPIT administrator makes sure that that information is then submitted to OCTE by June 20th. All of the information is here. For credentials, reporting is due to your CPIT administrator June 13th. Due to the CPIT administrator submits it to OCTE by June 20th. Again, you do have to have some information for credentials in for the enrollment collection period. As you can see that the dates are the same, but final reporting is due to OCTE by August 31st. So again, if you don't have all of the information, please enter in the information that you have. If you have any questions, please reach out and we can clarify that information. We have all of the information pertaining to the MSDS dates. Again, by May 10th, those students need to be in with one course section and correct UICs. And again, I'm going to show you different reports that you can look for to make sure that that information is in the system. Okay, so all of that information is available again on the home page. Today, we're going to be hovering over the data entry tab. So you don't have to click it, just hover over the data entry tab and go to enrollment and click the enrollment button there. And this is going to bring you to your enrollment homepage. The enrollment homepage has all of the information pertaining to enrollment. Today, we're going to be in the center here under the CTEIS Spring Task presentation. And this is where all of the guides that I refer to will be located for this particular training section. So we're going to click in here. And this is the spring enrollment task. This is all of the guides that you will need to complete your task for the spring enrollment. So again, this is not for the actual collection period. You are not turning anything in within the next couple of weeks. The next collection period is in June, but this training is just getting you prepared for that collection period. So the first section of information is the support information. I've went over as far as technical support and policy support. So this is a document for that. If you did not attend our fall training, where if you were a new user, we have different guides and information that explains the CTEIS application. So the CTEIS overview is for you. If you want to go back and review how CTEIS works, how the submission process works, all of that information is there, as well as a document for roles and access. There's a CTEIS timeline, my login access instructions, current due dates. Again, those due dates are just reflective of the OCTE calendar. CTEIS process is very helpful, again, for new users, but this information is here if you've just joined us. Terms and abbreviations that you may hear throughout the collection process. There's a glossary here. And then the CTEIS knowledge base. This is just breaking down everything that's on the knowledge base, but we're already here. This is the support.cteis.com, and that's what we refer to as the knowledge base. This next section here is labeled number 1, because this is the information that all pertains to verifying and inputting your data. So we have this little graphic here that shows that you collect your data, you verify your data, you input your data, and then you complete and submit your reports. So the first section here is manage courses. As I stated, we're just going to briefly review some of the topics that we went through in our fall data entry training. So I'm just going to briefly go over this information. If you want to view that information entirely, there is a link that you can use. If you go back to the enrollment homepage and go under fall enrollment tasks, you can view that presentation entirely, but I'm going to go over a little bit of it today that can help you with your spring tasks. So we're going to go under manage courses, manage students. There's a guide. These are all links to guides. They are PDFs that can be printed. If you want to view that in a printed copy, you can do that. Another guide is migrant students and manage enrollment. As we get further in our training and our demos, we're going to show you where, again, the managed credentials and then managed work-based learning information can be used in our training site. So these are guides that breaks down that information. As I stated, managed credentials recently went through an update. So I will show that documentation. So within the last couple of weeks, there's just a little bit different in the way that it appears. So all of the information is here in the guide, how to navigate the managed credentials screen. And specifically, you can see if you've worked in CTEIS before and you've seen the work-based learning screens, it's kind of similar to the work-based learning screens in that now you can see the credentials listed next to the student UIC, and you can remove and edit in the actual panel. This wasn't like this before, but that's the recent update. And again, we'll show this information in the demo, but this is the guide for the managed credentials. So the first topic that we're going to go through is our managed courses. And again, this is just the guide. It's all broken up here. How to use the managed courses screen specifically. So it breaks down the importance of course sections, segments, and competencies. All of this information is here. You will hear the categories of student advancement, enrollee, participant, concentrator, and completer. So all of that information that makes up that category is listed here. So how many Perkins core competencies or segments are required to be an enrollee or a participant? The importance of course sections and course sections and subsections is laid out here. So as we go into our demos, you can see all of the components that it takes to have an actual course. So you need a zip code, a program type, a time of year, a time of day, an instructor, and then the actual content. As we're talking about the courses, I see that there's someone that says they need to find this. This is on our support site, support.ctis.com. Thank you, Diana. And just to show you where we are, this is the homepage of the Knowledgebase. If you hover over data entry, you can select enrollment. And right in the center, it says Spring Enrollment Tasks. You can click the Spring Enrollment Task presentation. And then we were in this section here, Manage Courses. So as we're talking about courses, I was explaining how all the courses need specific components to have a record in CTEIS. Instructional design forms. Again, we went over this information in the fall, But if you need instructional designs, whether you have a Perkins 4 or a Perkins 5 course, the instructional design forms can be found by clicking the links within this document. So if you need a Perkins 4 form, you can click the link here. If you need a Perkins 5 instructional design form, those are broken up by program, and you can click the links here to be linked to that. And I'll show you where those are. So if we go back out of this guide, I'm just going to press the back arrow. We're back to our enrollment task homepage. If you hover over data entry and click enrollment, over here under special collections is where our instructional guides are. So for Perkins 4 that uses segment, there's an instructional design guide that is here for Perkins 4. And it looks like this. So you would have to use this document to fill in all of the information. Again, the components that make up a course, the semester, the teacher, the class, and then the segments. If there's a segment Q, you would enter that information in, and I'll show you in the demo where you can select that information in the actual screen. But this is using segments. So if you want to print off these documents, plug this information in that you receive as a building reporter from the CT administrator or the teacher. You can use this instructional design form because you're getting your information from them. So they would give you the information that you can use to put this information in, and then you can plug it into the actual application. So back to the enrollment homepage, that was Perkins 4. For Perkins 5, that uses competencies. Again, it's broken up by program. So all of the programs are here. And if you click on one specific program, I'll show you this example. You're going to open an Excel file. So as my computer opens up this Excel document, give me a second to switch over. One second, we're going to go back to our home screen as I switch over to the other one. One second. All right, so if you click that link that I showed, it will take you to an Excel document. This here that you're viewing on your screen is a Perkins 5 instructional design form. As you can see down here, there is a Perkins course overview, and it breaks up all of the Perkins course competencies. The next tab here is competency statements. There's a segment to competency crosswalk. And all of the information is here. So if there was any questions that you have pertaining to the competencies, you can find it in these instructional design forms. And then there's an example here. So at the in the example, it shows you how to set up your instructional design. Again, as a building reporter, you get this information from the instructor. So all of the competencies are listed here, and you can set up the instructional design following the instructions above here. So it's laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just follow the instructions. And then there's an actual template here that you can use to download to put in your specific information. So that's just gathering the information. And all of that information is here. Again, Perkins 4 uses segments. That's the instructional design form. Perkins 5 uses competencies. And these are all of the specific programs for the Perkins 5 competencies instructional designs. So these are the ones that are available. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But all of that information comes from your instructor, and you just plug that information into those templates. So getting back to where we were under the Managed Courses Guide. Managed Students also has a guide. Migrant Students has a guide. Managed Enrollment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to our training site. As I stated, we will practice. Now we're going to practice our demos. I will show you where all of this information makes sense. The train.ctis.com is where you can use your my login credentials to practice the demos that we're going to show today without actually messing up your information, your real data in the system. So give me a second to transfer my screen over to train.ctis.com. Diana has put it in the chat if you want to join us over there to practice. And we're going to get that screen up in just a second. So I'm going to go on a brief mute while I change my screen over, and then we'll practice our demos. Training site. I am logged in as a building reporter. I have been given access to the training site to show you the demos here. Excuse me. So if you click right here, once you log in, you should see your name. In your login process, if you're new to the system, you would see over here, it would say login using my login. If you click that, it will take you to the My Login for third-party verification screen, and then you'll put in your credentials, and then it will bring you back to the actual CTEIS site. So again, because I've only been given access for this training site, I don't have to go through that process. But if I click my name, this should be your name here. Mine's I guess it's either moving slow. It looks like it's still thinking, so give it 1 second. If you click your name, you'll have the information that you need to contact different individuals. So it has my CPIT information here. It has their names, their phone numbers, and their emails, and the buildings that they have. So if I need to reach out to my CPITs for any information, that information is here. Again, that can be accessed by just clicking your name. If you need to reach out, this is the information that will pop up by using that link. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to go to data entry and we're going to click that header. So if you click the data entry header, this will pop up. And for today's training demos and for this collection period, we're going to stay right under this enrollment column. These other columns are for other collection periods. That's for follow-up and that's for expenditures. For this collection period, for the enrollment completion collection, we're going to stay under enrollment. This is all of the topics that we talked about in our guides, and you can find all of that under the enrollment column. So manage students, this is the manage students screen if you want to go in and make student edits. This is the manage courses screen if you want to make course edits. If you want to import courses, you can click this link. If you want to do mass course edits, that means that you're going to edit several courses at one time. You can use that link. If you want to renew several courses at one time, you can use this link. If you want to go in and manage enrollment, that means make edits to students inside of classrooms or inside of course data, you can use the manage enrollment screen. This one is manage staff. All of your staff information can be edited by using that link. So that's your teachers. And then this here, if you want to import your course and student enrollment information, you can use the student course enrollment import. So we're going to be using this for grades. So I'm going to be demonstrating that in just a minute. Manage credentials. You can upload and manage credential information by clicking these links here. Work-based learning, you can import or manage current work-based learning experiences by using these links. And then at the very end, again, in June, you will go to this link, and this is where you submit your report information. So we're going to go through these topics here. The first one that I'm going to go through is manage courses. Because again, the last time we met, we went through our fall data entry training, and that was where we input all of our course and staff information. So we're just going to do a brief overview of that. So this is the manage courses screen. You can add, edit, and review your records. Right now, as a default, it has view active courses. As you can see, CTEIS is prompting me to select a district. For this particular demonstration, I only have access to 2 districts, Avondale School District and Birmingham Public Schools. The information that is in these schools is not valid. This is strictly for training purposes under my login. So this is not real data. The information that I have is obfuscated, which means that the UICs don't work. It's not actual data. So it's just for training purposes for this training period. So the first button here is to view active courses. So as I select my district, it's going to populate with active courses within the Avondale School District. So as you can see, this is a record of 64. And all of the buildings as well as courses that are in the Avondale School District for this training. I can search for a particular course by putting in the CSC into these links here. I can type in a course name, a program serial number, and I can use these to sort. You can also sort by clicking on the column headers, and there's a little arrow that pops up. So if you want to sort for a specific course, as you can see, there's a lot here. If you don't want to go through all of this, you can use the sorting features. If you want to get a list of all of these 64 records, you can do that by clicking this export button. It will then take you to an export in Excel. So an Excel document that will have all of this information from the CTEIS application for this school district. If you want to include previous year courses, that means that you want to review past information. You can click this radio button and it will give you both. So again, as a default, it's going to give me the active courses within this district. To create a new course, I'm going to go over and click this button, and it's going to prompt me to select a building. So I need to select the building that I want this course to be entered into. So I'm going to stay here and then the program. So CTEIS generates or populates this pull down tab with all of the active programs within the building that I selected. So then I can go through here and select my program. So for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to select the first one. But in your case, you would select the program that you're looking for. As you can see, this bottom panel opens here, and all of these cells are open for me to enter in information. You need to enter in information that has an asterisk by it. So a course section code, a local course name, a start date, an end date, and a semester. As I stated in the Manage Courses document, these are the components that make up a course. You need to have a virtual delivery mode and then select the appropriate course type. Over here in the right-hand side, this is our course information panel. So as we can see, this is a regular course, P4. This is a Perkins 4 course. This is the program serial program serial number, the CPID, the fiscal agency, the operating agency, and then the building. As you can see, is biomedical sciences general. So I can then go in and type in the actual course information for this particular program. So I want to make sure that that information matches. So once you enter in all of this information, you get down to the course start date. It will populate a calendar where you can go through and select start dates and end dates. This one will have a drop down where you can select the semester. Room number and course section period is for your records. It is not required for a record in CTEIS, but this is good for your record purposes. So you can fill in that information. You need to select virtual delivery mode, whether it's going to be not virtual, it's an online course, blended, or digital. And then you need to select the appropriate course type. So secondary CTE course, no dual or concurrent enrollment, college credit, or on college transcript, So if you want to select that, or if you want to select post-secondary CTE course, that provides dual enrollment, you can select that by clicking either one of those radio buttons. Because this is a Perkins 4 course, it has a segment profile. So depending on my instructional design, I can go through and select the segments that are within this course. And I can use all 4 panels depending on our instructional design for our building. So once you click, you can set up here, and then you can select the staff type. So you plug in all of your segments. Again, this information is given to you by the instructor or the teacher, and you enter that information into the panels. As far as your course staff, you can select if it's additional full-time, additional part-time, primary. You have your options here. You can use this space to enter staff in if you want to search for staff. And then using this button here, you can enter in a PIC number. The PIC number is specific to staff. and that's the teachers. Each teacher should have a pick number that's in the system. So it would CTEIS would then populate that information and then save it once you put that information in. Once all of these panels are complete, you can hit the add course, and then you will get a success message from CTEIS. And that is if you want to manually enter in a course. That would mean that you would do it individually for each particular course. The option here to cancel and return is if you don't want to save any of the information in, you can cancel and return, and it'll prompt you, are you sure you want to do that? And then take you back to the home screen here. To edit a course, this is an existing course in this Manage Courses screen. You want to click on the book icon. And the training site may run a little slow, but just give it a time to load. So this one is this first option here. I click the book icon. This is a course that's already in the system, and it tells me all of the course information. This one is a Perkins 5 course, so it shows a competency profile. So all of the competencies are here. As you can see, they utilize the first column here. So all of the competencies are laid out. That's from their instructional design. Under the course staff panel, there is a staff tied to this course. Again, this was all of the information that hopefully was taken care of in the fall. This is just a review. So if you want to edit the course staff information, you can click the pencil icon. If you want to delete it, you can click the trash icon, but this is the pick number tied to this staff. So this is the teacher teaching this course. If I want to update this course, I can make changes within the panels here and then come down here and click update. If I want to copy this course information, which will keep all of the records intact, I can use the copy course button. If I want to deactivate this course, again, this is all information that you receive. This is all information that you receive as a building reporter. If you receive information to deactivate the course, you can use this button and it will deactivate. And then cancel and return. Again, if you don't want to save changes, you can cancel and return and it won't save a record in CTEIS. So this is the information if you want to update an existing course. So you can come in and type in these panels. So that is the manage courses. That's how to manually add a new course and how to edit an existing course. You can click on any of these active courses within the panel here and make edits and come down and update course, and it will save a record. The next topic that we're going to talk about is manage. I'm going to actually go to importing courses. Since we're talking about courses, that's how to manually enter in courses. Now we're going to show how to import courses. So now in the importing courses screen, this is where you would use an Excel document to import courses into CTEIS. So I want to make sure that I select the building, just as I did if it was manual. And now you're going to have your Excel document ready with your course information on it. So to do that, we're going to go and show you where the templates are for the importing tool. So we're going to go back to our knowledge base. Again, all of our templates and our guides are on our knowledge base. So we're going to go back to our home page of our knowledge base so that we can show you where to get your template. So if you hover over data entry and come down to imports, this is the importing homepage, and you can get your import file templates for students and for courses. These are the importing students guide for both importing guides for both students and courses. So for this demonstration, we're talking about courses. So we want to click this link. Once you click this link, it is then going to populate a importing template. So I'm going to show that. We're going to click the first tab here, which is the instructions. These are the instructions that show you how to set up your import template. So you want to go through and follow all of this. Again, there are components that are needed to save a record in CTEIS. So for your Perkins 4 example, this is an example that uses segments. So all of the segments are here. And there are different ways that you can set up your instructional design depending on your process. But this is 3 examples. So we have our course section code, our program serial number, the name, room, hour, virtual delivery, just as it was in our manual screens. All of that information is in an import file. This is a Perkins 5 example that uses competencies. Again, the course section code, the PSN, the name, and then this is all of the competencies. These are 3 examples of how you can set up your instructional design for your competencies. If you want to set up your import file to use both Perkins 4 and Perkins 5, this is an example of that. So as you can see on the top half here, it may not come up good on my screen, but this is like a really light green color. This is Perkins 5, and then the yellow color here is Perkins 4. So in your import template, you can put all of your courses, both Perkins 4 and Perkins 5, in the same import file. And the last tab here is the actual template. So you can download this and just plug your information in here according to your instructional design. So for this demonstration, I have my file ready. So I'm going to go back to our CTEIS application, and I'm going to click Import Course File. CTEIS is going to prompt me to select my file from my computer. So I'm going to locate my file with wherever it is saved in my computer, and I'm going to open that file. And now it's generated in the system. So what it's doing here is CTEIS is verifying the information in my import file is correct. So as you can see, this first record is not correct. There's an invalid program, invalid PIC number. So all of this information is wrong. So there's a chance that I have some information here in that's wrong. It could be the wrong building. Again, it could be, I tried to import it into Avondale when there's another building code here that I was supposed to enter in, or I was supposed to select. So because I can't make edits on this screen, I will have to remove the file, check offline what I did wrong, and fix that information offline, and then upload the file again. But as you can see, this next record down here has a green. And if you look over in the table here, the green is add, blue is update, and then the light green is renew. So CTEIS has generated that, hey, this is an appropriate program. This program has all of the components that it needs. All of the information is verified. I can then upload this course into the system. So if I hit the upload button, we're still on. I'm just waiting for CTEIS to update here. Okay, so just give me 1 second while this updates. I'm just going to make sure there's not anything that I can do to speed this up a little. So I'm just going to go on a brief mute for 1 second. As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it says updated. The course that I put in my import file has now been updated in the system. For this particular course that is red here, I can go back and change building because clearly I made an error here. I must have tried to import this into the wrong building, so I can go out and make that change and then upload the file again. So this is what you would do if you wanted to import courses. You can list all of the courses that you have, again, Perkins 4 and Perkins 5, and then import the information and it will be saved in the system. So you do not have to do a manual entry. When we showed the manual screen, you can do an import by using the import courses button, and it works the same way. But if you prefer to use the manual entry, use the manage courses screen and you can put your information in individually. So now we're going to go to our Manage Student screen, and we're going to take a break in just a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and show the Manage Student screen. So this here works a lot like the Manage Courses screen. It's prompting me to select the building. Okay, so this is the building that I want to place the student into. So as we see here, there's a number of buildings that I can select from. I want to make sure that I select the correct building. As a default, CTEIS is going to select and populate the screen with all of the students that are in school. So as you can see, it's checked here. If I want to make a selection for all students who are not in school, I can just click this button and it will populate with that information if I need to do that. So that is an option. So this is all of the students that are here in this Avondale High School. Again, all of my information is not correct data. This is just for training purposes. If I want to search for a particular student, I can put the student's UIC here or search by name and hit the search button, and then it will populate with that student's information. To add a student record, it works just as it does with the courses. You're going to click the Add Student. This is to create a new student record. So this is the information that we did not cover in the fall data entry. So I'm going to go in and enter in this information manually. So I can fill in the first name. This time there are not asterisks on this screen. It's red. It's highlighted in red. So I need a first name, I need a last name, a date of birth, a gender, and then a building to create a record in CTEIS. Over here, I need a UIC. This is where you would put that information. Once you have that core information in, you can hit the Save Student button and it will create a record. This panel over here is the MSDS panel. You cannot edit information in this green section. This information is populated once you put in the UIC. And it saves a record in the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a student. This is just for an example. So I'm going to type in a UIC here. And then I'm going to hit the search button. And as you can see, it found the student that I was looking for. I'm going to click the student icon here. And now it has entered in all of the information for that student. So as you can see, this information is already stored in the system. This system is already in. I'm sorry, this student's information is already in. The UIC is here, and we have a status and a status date. So as I was stating before, when you want to put in those students, that MSDS data deadline, if you want to come in and check your student UIC information, you can do so by using the Check UIC button here. So you can go in, search for the student in the panel, and then check the UIC. If you want to manually, for each individual student, you can do that. So that's the information that you want to make sure is accurate for that May 10th date. If I want to make any corrections to this student data, I can go in and make changes here and then save student. If I want to select single parent or out of workforce, I can use these checkboxes here. And then if we move down to the program enrollment history panels, this shows the two programs that the student are in. So this student is in a regular program, the drafting and design, and it shows the courses that the student has taken or are enrolled in. It shows the work-based learning experiences that was given to the student. So we see those here. For this second course, it shows the courses. I'm sorry, for the second program, it shows the courses. And then it shows the work-based learning and then the credentials. Okay, so to get into this student panel a little bit further, this first column here, Column A shows the total segments and competencies that have been validated and granted to a student in that program. So when the check is, when you put the student information in the system, since the competencies and segments need to be validated and approved, they will only show the required for the previous year. So this is previous year information here. The panel B, which is the second panel, shows, which is here, it shows the courses that were passed with a 2.0 or above in the previous year. So those have a box around them and the number and shading. So you can see here that that's here. That's the program B. I'm sorry, I would say the section B. So this is section A, this is section B. This here is just the begin date. This is the course information. Again, course information. And then this one here is panel C. And this one shows, am I right? One second, let me make sure I'm saying the right panels here. Okay, I'm back. So yes, panel A shows all of the total segments that have been granted and validated. The panel B shows the courses that were passed with a 2.0 or above in the previous year. Panel C shows the previous year course that was not passed with the 2.0 or above. I don't have that in this example here. And then panel D shows the current year courses. Again, the segment and competencies provided by the course are boxed, and the boxes are not shaded if the courses have not been validated or approved. So again, this is previous year, and this is the information for that student for this particular program. So if you want to track actual student advancement, you can do so by looking at row A and row D. So this is row A and row D. As you can see here, it says advancement status is a completer. So all of that information is here because it's been validated. So the advancement status for this student in this program is a completer. And then the same for this particular program down here, advancement status completer. These are the panels that you can use to verify student advancement. Now, what I will point out in this particular example, if you look at the MSDS data panel, this shows all of the MSDS data information that's in the system. But over here on the side here, as you can see on the right-hand side, it says migrant and it says yes. So this student is a migrant student. So in this program enrollment history panel, as you can see over here, it says M6 clock hours, M6 course section. So this information, if this wasn't previous year information, could be edited. But I can't click in it because this is all information in the system. If this was a current course, I can go in and make edits here. And that's where you would load your M6 clock hours and then your M6 course section information. This is only if you have migrant student information. Okay, so the migrant student information, we're going to specify what that is. And we have a guide for migrant student data. What we're going to do is, again, we're going to go back. As I say, I go back and forth between the knowledge base and the application a lot. So we're going to go back to our knowledge base to show you the migrant student guide if you have migrant students. So you're going to hover over the data entry tab, select enrollment, go back to our spring task presentation. That's where we were earlier today. And this here is a migrant student document. You can print this off and have this for your record if you have migrant students. So this outlines all of the information that we received from OCTE regarding migrant student data. It shows you how to add the M6 course section ID and clock hours using the screens here. Again, if my actual example was a current course, I could go in and make these edits. So those drop down boxes here would be open. But because this is a previous year course, I can't make any edits in here. So we're going to go back here and close this out to get back to our student panel. So 1 second. And we're just going to open a student record here and see here. So again, you can go in and make edits in these program enrollment history panels. So there's a question in the chat if you can edit high school and college credits from the managed student screen. You can if it's a current course. So you can type in these fields here and you can edit high school credit and college credit here. Grades can be updated. Again, this is from the manage students panel. You can go in and make corrections on grades as well as student data. So again, it's giving me a success message here that high school credits was successfully updated in the system. So you can make edits here if that information is active. We're going to show how to import a student record. So under the enrollment tab, you would go under student course enrollment import. Just as with courses, you can select or set up your import file to have both student and course information. So it's prompting me to select a building. And I would need to have my enrollment file set up. Okay. So again, back to the Knowledgebase. We're going to get our importing file for our students. So we were here with courses. We just went to data entry and imports. We're going to come down to students. So this is a Excel file, import specifications guide, as well as the student Excel headings file. So this here, I'm going to share, is the actual import that you can download to put your student information in. So you want to put in the last name, first name, middle initials. All of this information can be entered in. You need the UIC, sending building, sending district, sending building, phone numbers, city, state, zip. This is the course section code. This is if you want to enter in students as well as courses. So this import can be used to import student data as well as course data. So you're going to put the course section code in here, the beginning and end date of that course. And then also if the course gives work-based learning experiences. So that's what this WBL is. And this is at the enrollment level. So if you use this process to put in your work-based learning, you can enter it in here. the subsection, and then the course grade. So this is what you could be using now to import all of your student data regarding your grades, your work-based learning, and your student information. You can create this file by downloading this template and putting all of your information in here. Once you have all of your information in here, going back to our training site, you would then upload your file just as you did with the courses. So we're going to select our file. So CTEIS is prompting me to select my file on my computer. I'm going to open that. And then this is my file with my student information. So as you see, there are errors found within this particular document. Again, my UICs are not valid. So I can't import courses on this training site with my credentials. But you want to make sure that all of your information is accurate. You want to make sure that the courses are accurate. You want to make sure that the date of birth, because right here in this example is saying age has to be less than 30. So according to my date of birth, and the information that I have in here, it's not accurate. So then I would have to remove the file and make those changes offline, because I can't type in this actual panel and then upload the file again. If I want to export this file with this information on it, showing the invalid information for my records, I can use the export button, and it will then create an Excel export that I can print. And I can go over that information, make those corrections, and then create my file with the correct information. If this information if it was green, as we stated with our courses, I can add, I can update, or see, as you can see here, these are errors. So if I wanted to go in and try to submit this, I couldn't, because I got an error. So I have to go back out, remove this file by clicking this button, remove file, and make those corrections offline. But this is the information that you want to be entering in now. You want to make sure that you're tying your students to the correct courses, and you're importing that information in the system. So again, under data entry, you can go under the manage students and enter that information in manually by selecting the building that you want the students to go into and selecting that information. Hopefully all of the students have been updated in your record already, and you don't have to add student, but we went through that demonstration. If you have to add a new student record, you just have to put that information in, and then go in and do your courses. But if the students are already in, you can go in and make edits here, and then view their program enrollment history information to make sure all of their courses are accounted for and the segments and competencies are adding up. So you can use this to view individual students. So we're going to take a quick break. Before we do, I want to make sure that there aren't any questions regarding the managed students or the managed courses screen. I see there's a some information in the chat. Thank you for your advice. It's stating if you limit your file upload size, it breaks down large files. That is correct. So thank you for your advice. If you import 200 records, it would take around a minute. If you import 5, it would take around 3 minutes. So good information in the chat for those who have been using this. So again, if there aren't any questions regarding the Manage Students and Manage Courses screen, when we come back from break, we're going to discuss Manage Enrollment, where you can manually tie your students to their courses in the Manage Enrollment screen. So we're going to take a 10-minute break so that we can take a break if we need to. And I'm going to change my screen over to a timer, a 10-minute timer. I'm going to put it on mute because I was told that it's a loud siren at the end of 10 minutes. So I don't want anyone to experience that. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go on a break for 10 minutes. Again, when we come back, we're going to go over Manage Enrollment, and then we're going to go into the Manage Credentials and Work-Based Learning. And then that would be the end of the information that we would cover today. Again, we'll give you some review tips on how to review your data, but we're just going to take a 10-minute break now. So I'm going to start this, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back, and hopefully, I think my audio is coming in clear. Okay, thank you, Diana. And I do see that there is a question in the chat regarding segments and class list reports. Okay, we will definitely take down that information and get back to you on that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. So before break, we went through the managed courses and managed student screens. We showed how to do manual entry of courses as well as manual entry for students. We showed how to do importing courses as well as importing students' courses and grades using that Excel template. We do have some tips in the chat about using smaller chunks of information in your import files that may be helpful. So we thank you for those tips in the screen. I'm sorry, in the chat. Excuse me. On your screen now, you should see the Manage Enrollments screen, and in the training site, what we did is we went to the data entry tab and select manage enrollments. So I used the import file earlier to create a course, and I put all of my information into the import file, and this is the course that I created. The information is here on the screen. As you can see in Manage Enrollments, you can add, edit, and review records. So upon selecting my district, when I came in here, I select the Avondale School District because it's going to prompt you to select district. You are then given CTEIS populates with all of the courses within the district that you select. So as you see over here on the side, it says it's 65 courses that is now populated in the screen. Just as with the managed courses and managed student screens, I can use the headers here to look for a specific course by typing in the panels here. And once you select your course, you can click on the book icon, and then that will populate the bottom here where you can make your edits. So when you add enrollments, what you're doing is you're adding students to the courses. You can edit student enrollments in this page, and then you can also review records. So for this Mind Your Business, I guess finance semester 2 course, again, this is just for demonstration purposes. This is not real data. I can select the Add Enrollment button, Update Enrollment, Copy Transfer, or Delete. I'm going to add enrollments to this course because there aren't any enrollments in this course. So I'm going to add students to this course. So I'm going to select the building again, and it's going to, the course is going to be the Avondale High School. And then it's populated. CTEIS generates all of the students within Avondale High School. So as you can see over here, it says that there are 470 students within this building. So then I can go through and select by clicking on the first column where the student UIC is located here. So over here in the left-hand side, I can click these and add the students. If I want to search for a particular student, again, I can type in the column headers here. I can type the UIC and then search for the student. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add and as you can see, this gives me a success message that the 2 that I selected is now added to this course. Now you can do this. This is a manual way to add students to courses by selecting the correct course and then adding the enrollment. If I want to update enrollments, now let's say for instance, if you have several students here, this whole panel here is full of student information. You can search for a particular enrollment by clicking in the space here. If I want to select particular students, so for this demonstration, I'm going to select 2 by clicking the box on the side. It will highlight 2 students that I can then update enrollments for, copy and transfer, or delete. If for whatever reason I want to delete these students out of this particular course, I can hit the delete button and this will delete the enrollment. Again, this is the information that you as the building reporter would get from your CTE instructors or teachers. So if that is the process that you need to do, you can hit this delete button. If you want to copy and transfer this information, you can do that by hitting the copy transfer button. Now, to copy and transfer in the enrollment, I'm going to show you what that. So to copy, you would click the copy button to keep the student enrollment records with the original course intact and duplicate them into a course section indicated in another building. If you want to transfer, you would click the transfer button to remove the student record from the enrollments from the original building and move them into an indicated building. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that. So let's say I hit the copy transfer button. And then I can select the new course by hitting the new course. As you see, it has the asterisk here. I can select the course and then either copy, again, it will keep the student within this enrollment and make a copy into this course here that I selected. Or if I want to transfer, it would take the student out of this course and transfer them into this radio production course. So that's how the copy transfer feature works. And you could do this for all of the selected UICs that you have on the previous page here. If you want to update enrollments, you can select the 2 students using the UIC. And as you can see, I selected these 2 students and I can update letter grades here. Again, you can select as many students as you need that are listed in the course, and you can go in and select the grades. So then it will give the grade A to both of the students here. I can change beginning and end date if I need to go in and change the dates that are in the record. So the beginning and end date for this is January as the begin date and June is the end date. If I need to change that, I can change it here. If I want to add a work-based learning experience, I can type in the field here. And this is adding the work-based learning at the enrollment, which is at the course level. If this is the process that you do and you enter in your work-based learning and manage enrollment, you can use this section here. If you want to change subsection, you could change that by clicking on the drop down button of the options that are available there. Once you made all of your edits here, this is an edit, you can then hit the update button. And all I did was change grades. So as we can see, the grades are here. And if I need to go back in at any point and change that, I can do that by clicking on the drop down buttons here. Same thing for end dates, work-based learning, subsection, but all of this information is here and it can be edited. If I want to go to the next course and pick another course, I would just go up, click the book icon, wait for it to load, and then it would load with that course that I selected by clicking the book icon. I am still here, just waiting for it to load. Okay, so I clicked on this first option here and I clicked on the book icon. And now, as I see, these are the students that was listed in the first course. So I can go in, select them, and do the same process again. And you can do this for all of the courses that are within the Avondale School District. You can go in and manually update and enter. There's a question in the chat. This can be done in an import as well. Yes, it can. So in that import that I showed, I'll show that again. You can put all of your enrollments in the import and take care of all of this without doing it manually. So this is just if you want to go through and make a manual edit individually, you can use this screen. If you want to view class list reports, that's what this icon is here. So if you click on the printer icon for this particular course, again, each class list is indicated by the particular course section code. So if I click on this, this here is an instructional design. And now you can see, I was told that there has been an update where now you can see everything instead of just enrolled. Again, this particular class student list is for demo. When you're in the actual application, your information should be in there. But this can be used to view the instructional design for everything. And you can use this to verify that particular class information. So this is one of the reports. We'll show where some of the other reports are, but you can utilize this particular report if you want to review enrollments within this particular course. So again, this is available for each individual course by clicking on the printer icon next to the course. So you can go in and review the information that you entered in by clicking on that icon. So back to the importing, if you want to import both courses and student information, as was asked in the chat, you go under the enrollment header. That's where we've been. You want to go down to student course enrollment import, select that. And then that's when you select your building and import your enrollment file. That enrollment file looks like this, where all of the information is here. Your first name, last name, the course section code is here under column S, the beginning and end date of that course, work-based learning experiences. If you enter it in at this level, that's where you would put it, the subsection of the course, and then the course grade is column X. So you can do the same process that we showed in the enrollment screen here in this import and take care of the same enrollment data entry. And as they stated, you want to make sure that your files aren't too large so that you don't have any difficulties there with the information. And if at any time, again, you run into any technical issues, if you have errors, please feel free to reach out to the help desk. So if you have import your records, once you import that information into the system, as I demonstrated earlier, once you click the button, CTEIS is going to prompt you to find your file on your computer. You would then hit the open on your file and then load it into the application. And here it shows the student information as well as the course information. As you can see here, it says course section code, and it has the beginning and end date. The work-based learning experiences is here. And all of the information that was in my import file is now on here. Now, again, this has errors in it because of UICs and other things for this demonstration. So this I cannot upload. If you have errors, you have to correct them offline because you cannot type in this panel. You make the corrections and then upload the file again. So to remove the file, you just hit the remove file button, make your corrections, and then upload again. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just saw that in the chat. Can you, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so as I stated, once you create your import file, all of this information here will be loaded. So this is the UIC, the course section code information is here. The beginning and end date is here. The course grade is here. Work-based learning experience. So all of the information that I put in my import is on this screen. And as you can see, this has errors in it. So I cannot make changes on this screen. I would have to remove the file, make the changes offline, and then upload the file again. If this was accurate, I would get a green message. So all of this would be green to add. And then I can hit the upload button, and then I would get a response from CTEIS that your information has been updated in the system. If I want to export this information with all of the error records here so that I can review this information, I can hit the export button in the middle. This will then create an Excel file that will let me review this information offline. So because this is not going to upload, I'm going to remove file, and then I will have to upload the file again. So that's for the manage enrollment. So that's both the manual entry of entering students into courses under managed enrollment, and then also the import, so where you can import grades and enrollments. Now, recently there has been created a system update where you can do a minimal import, which means at the end, maybe closer to the end of the completion dates, maybe closer to June, you may find it helpful to use a minimal import where you want to just import grades only. So what you can do is create an Excel file, and I will show that Excel file on my screen. What I've done is I've created a minimal import. All you have to have in your minimal import is the UIC, the last name, the course section code, and the grades. So as you can see in column A, I have UIC, last name, course section code is column C, and then course grade is column D. I can go in and enter in all of the students with the UICs in their course grade, and then use the student file import tool that I just showed you, and it would just update grades. So this is useful if you just want to do a minimal import of grade updates in the system. So again, you could create an Excel file, have these headers. If you have other information in here, CTEIS would just ignore it, but you can just have these columns filled here, and CTEIS would recognize it and then update those grades according to that course section code and then the course grade. And that again is used by going to the student course enrollment import here. Okay, so we've went through all of the information pertaining to students and courses. If you want to manage staff, we went over this information in the fall. We can click this button, and this button would then generate the information for our staff. This is the teachers. If you need to go in and search staff or enter in staff information, you can use this screen to do that. And this is all of the staff that is in the system. So I can go in and look for PIC numbers and search for staff. If I need to go in and make changes to staff information, I can go in and make changes using this field here and then update staff. Okay, are there any questions regarding updating courses, staff, or students before we move on to credentials and work-based learning? Yes, I can. Okay, so we're going to show the UIC check reports in just a moment. I do want to review again. I want to make sure that you understand you can update your courses. This is back to the course information by using the mass course edit and mass course renew features in the system if you just need to do courses only. So if you're still at the process where you need to make course edits, you don't have to use the manage courses screen for each individual course. You can go in and use this mass course edit feature to update courses more than one course at a time. So as soon as this loads, it will show that. Okay, so just as with the other screens, it's going to prompt me to search for a district. And then it populates with all of the courses. Again, it shows 65 records. All of the courses that I have within the Avondale School District will populate in the screen. I can go through and select as many as I need to. So as you can see, you can select multiple. And then you want to hit the update courses button. This is a mass course edit. If I want to change dates, if I want to change beginning and end dates, I can do that. Semester, if I want to change high school credits and college credits, I can go in and select a number of courses at one time and then make those changes. If you want to enter staff, you can do that. And then once you enter in all of it, as you can see here in the panel, you will see the changes here. You can hit update courses. So I only selected 2 courses to mass edit. So that's why it's only 2 courses here in the panel. If you want to do a mass course renew, this is if you're going to keep all of the information, the original information for the course intact, and you just want to renew those courses. CTEIS will then take those courses and renew them to the next year. So if you still have some courses that still need to be renewed, you can select multiple courses, hit renew selected courses, and CTEIS will pull those to the current year. It will renew those courses. When those 3 courses are renewed, they will then come out of this panel here and will populate over in this panel. So as you can see, this panel over here is all active courses. These courses have been renewed. I'll say these courses are all renewed courses. I can search in the boxes here if I want to look for a particular course, if I don't want to go through all these records. But again, that's if I want to update the courses with all of the current information intact and I just want to renew. That has nothing to do with student information. It's just renewing the course. All right, so to manage credentials, again, there was a update within the last couple of weeks, and now we're going to show that screen. So again, we have to select our district. And as you can see, this is all of the programs. This is programs for credentials. If I want to see district-wide receive credentials, I can click this button and it then will populate all of the credentials, I believe within the last 4 years. I believe according to the guide, I'll show the, make sure that I got that information correct, and the managed credentials guide on our Knowledgebase. So if you click the district-wide receive credentials button, the Excel export will display students' credentials for the selected district for the past 4 years. And again, it will only display students with credentials. So if you need to view that information, you can by clicking this button. You can select a particular program by clicking the select button here. As you can see, all of the zip codes for all of the programs, and you want to select the particular program that you want to view credentials for. The bottom panel opens. As you can see, you have groupings here. You can select all currently enrolled, or you can select by clicking on the course. These here are the courses within this program, Business Administration Management. Okay, so if I click all currently enrolled, it's going to load students. And as you can see here at the bottom, there are 2 students within that course within this program. And the 2 students, of the 2, this one student has a credential. The credential is the communication skills for businesses, professional communication. As you can see, it has the UIC, the student name and last name. If I need to remove this credential, it gives me the option to do that. That's an update. If I want to export this information to an Excel file, I can then export all of the current credentials that are within this course by clicking the export button and then downloading that Excel file. If I want to add an approved credential, I can go over here and CTEIS will populate this section with all of the approved credentials for this particular program. So I can select one. If I want to select a supplemental credential, CTEIS will then populate with all of the supplemental credentials for this program. And I can select here from this drop-down menu. Or I can type in the field here if I have a suggested credential. Again, this is information that you're going to receive from your CTE instructors or teachers. If I have the information that I need, I can select the button here, add credential to selected student. Yep, I need to select the student. And then add the credential, sorry. And then add. And then as you can see, it says successfully added credential. So as you can see, this student now has that credential, that approved credential that I selected over here. If I want to remove that, I just hit the remove button, and now the credential is successfully removed. You can do this by selecting each program. Again, this is a manual entry and edit of credentials. If you want to import credentials, you can go back to the data entry tab and come down to the upload credentials. And it's going to prompt me to choose my file. So then I would have to choose my file from my computer. Okay. Now the credentials, I'll share this screen here. There's a managed credentials guide on our Knowledgebase. I'll show where I am. So we're back to our spring enrollment tasks homepage where all of our documents are that I've been going over. So now we're to manage credentials. And this is the managed credential guide. I went through this information here. If you scroll down, it'll show you how to indicate who you need to select. And I showed you where you can do that. How to add the credentials, whether it's an authorized, supplemental, or suggested. And then here, this is if you want to import your credentials. Just like with the minimal import that I discussed earlier, you can create an Excel file with just the UIC, the PSN, the credential code, and the credential name. And you can import your credentials instead of putting them in manually if you choose to do that. So the process works the same as all other imports if you create your Excel file. And it gives you tips here if you want to enter in that your programs will not have credentials. You can enter that in. If you're doing an import, you're going to use the PSN, a UIC of 9s, and then a credential code of X if your program will not have credentials. This down here is really helpful. It's a potential error in resolution. If you get a message, an error message in CTEIS, this is just some of the potential errors that you could get, and it tells you a meaning and a resolution here. So all of the information for credentials can be located in the credential guide. And this again can be found in the spring enrollment task homepage and then under credentials. Okay, I believe there's a couple questions in the chat. If we have a credential report, can we see the current year credentials in a report, and then that you don't have to filter, and then how many 9s are showed? I believe there's 9 in the record. It shows if you don't have any credentials. As far as the reports, Nick gets the reports in a second. I have to check on that previous current year credential information. Let me see here. If you want to indicate, we're going to go back to the Manage Credentials page here, or screen. We're going to go back to Manage Credentials screen. Select a program. If your program will not have credentials for this year and you're putting it in manually, you want to make sure that you select the button that Business Administration will not have any credentials. So depending on the program that you select, you have to indicate whether it's going to have credentials or not. If you do not check this box or indicate so on your enrollment file, CTEIS is going to look for those credentials and you're going to get an error. So we're back to our Manage Credentials page where we just select Manage Credentials. And then we just selected the first program here. You want to indicate if your program is going to have credentials for the year. So you would do so by selecting this box. If you don't select this box, CTEIS is going to look for credentials. Again, you're going to also do that in your import file with the 9s. If you do not indicate that there is credentials, it's going to look for it. So you want to check this box if there are no credentials. If there are, you want to make sure that you're adding the appropriate credentials. Our next topic is Manage Work-Based Learning. We spoke about work-based learning in our Manage Enrollment screen. And as I stated, if that's the process that you use when you put in your credentials in Manage Enrollment, you want to make sure that you pull those credentials, Manage Work-Based Learning experiences over to the program level. So if you have put in your enrollment records and you put in your work-based learning, you want to go here, select your district. As you see, there are 11 programs found. You want to find the particular program that the work-based learning experiences need to be recorded for. And then you want to select Update Work-Based Learning from Enrollments. So if you put in any enrollments, if you entered in any work-based learning in enrollments, you have to click this button to make sure that they're linked in the system. So again, select the appropriate program and then come here and select that button. If you're going to put in your enrollments using this Manage Work-Based Learning screen, if you're going to not include them in your enrollments, you come to this Manager Work-Based Learning screen, select the program as we did with all the other procedures, and then you're going to actually put them in manually here. So again, you can select all currently enrolled, go through and select the particular course that the work-based learning experience is going to be for, and then click the Show Students. So for this particular program, I selected the first one, and the program serial code is here, program serial number, and then the Business Administration, Management, and Operations is the program. The course can be found here, but I selected all currently enrolled. And when you come into this screen, CTEIS defaults to select all currently enrolled once you make the selection in the program. So once you select here, CTEIS is going to automatically default to all currently enrolled. And then you just hit the Show Students, verify that all of the students that you want to give work-based learning experiences to are located here. Or you can select all by clicking the Select All, and then it will apply to all of the students, or select individually. You can enter in the experiences. The codes for your convenience are here. So if it's career awareness, you can enter in the code A. If it's career training, you can enter in the code T. E for career exploration, the letter P for career preparation, the letter Y for youth apprenticeships. So you can enter in up to 30 experiences for work-based learning, and then you want to select the option here. So once you have the student and you enter in the experience, okay, let's say I entered in two career awareness codes, I have the option to overwrite events or append events. So if I want to add these two experiences to work-based experiences that are already in the system, I can click the append events. That will keep all of the work-based learning experiences intact and add on these two. If I want to overwrite, but that means to clear out whatever is in the system before under work-based learning and just add these two, I would then hit the overwrite events. And again, this is a manual entry of work-based learning. If I want to search for a student, I can enter in the UIC, select the student, put the work-based learning in, and then select here. If you do it this way, you do not have to worry about linking them from enrollments. This is at the program level, and that will be entered into the system. If you want to upload your work-based learning or import your work-based learning, just as with the other imports, you can create an import file, choose your file, and then upload into CTEIS. And just to give you a reference of where this information is, again, we're going to go back to our Knowledgebase. This is our home page. Right up under credentials is Manage Work-Based Learning. So we're going to click that. And then this here is a Manage Work-Based Learning guide. If you're not sure of what work-based learning is, it gives a breakdown of all of the work-based learning codes. They can be found here. The process of what I just said as far as how to enter work-based learning can be here. And then this is the screens that we just went through here. And then down here is where you can import work-based learning. So there is a template available that is created on the Knowledgebase. I'll show you where that is. But this is the template that you can create for importing work-based learning only. So your UIC, first name, last name, the PSN, program name, and then the work-based learning event. So just to go back here and show you where that is, we're back to our spring enrollment tasks. We're going to hover over data entry and then select enrollment. And under special collections is a work-based learning guide, and then the work-based learning template. So this one is created for you. As you can see, you're just entering in the information here as you did with the other imports. And then there's instructions here on how to set up your import with just work-based learning experiences. So you're going to enter in your UIC, the first and last name, the program serial number for the program name, the work-based learning experiences, and then a description. And this is the instructions on the actual template. And then this here is the template. You can download this template and put in all of your work-based learning experiences. Again, that can be found by going under special collections, and then this is the tracking sheet. This is the guide. There's also some information here from Power School. If you utilize the Power School system in your buildings, there has been some conversions that have been given to us that have that are useful. So if you want to view this information, you can use that if you utilize Power School and want to do your work-based learning experiences. So again, that's using the Power School and work-based learning resources link here. Okay, so are there any questions regarding credentials, entering in credentials and work-based learning into the system? Okay, so I see there's a question in the chat as far as generating templates with student info already in them for your work-based learning and credentials. I do not have a separate template for both of those prepared for that to show that they're already enrolled. The Excel template. Okay, all right. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay. Okay, so this here is if you import the student data into an Excel file, this is the imported data that is in for credentials. So this is the ID, the credential ID, the zip code, the UIC for the student, the program serial number, the student name, and then the credential name, and then this is the credential. And then this shows the credential year. This one is a pretty big file because this is for the 4 years. As we stated, it will go back for 4 years. So you have to be mindful that this is going to be a very large file that shows the credentials that were given. If you want to view credential reports, they have credential reports in the report section, and I can show in just a second. But that's what you would see if you're viewing. Okay, all right, I gotta look into that. I was not aware of an import that you can have instructors fill in, or I'm not clicking it on at the moment. I do apologize. But if you click the button here, that's what the import would have been for the last 4 years. If you go under, let's see, I think there was another question here. Okay, I have to look into the question whether or not you can add the sending district or building so that you can sort the data to share with districts. Let me make sure that we get this question answered. And then I have that other question too. Give me 1 second to jot down these two, and then we're going to go into our reports. And 1 second. Okay, if you go under reports, we're going to review our reports. I have the two questions and we'll look into that information. If you go under reports, we were under data entry for all of this training. So we've entered in all of our data. If we want to review reports, we can click the reports header here. And this is all of the reports that we want to view right under the reports here. So the first section we're going to look at is the building reports. We're going to select that. And this is all of the building reports that we have in the system. So when you put your information into the system, it generates this information into a report. So I showed you the class student list report when we were in the manage enrollment screen. You can generate a class student list. So you can also go here by clicking reports and building reports and view the class student list. The BAT UIC by building, this information is helpful when you're going to look to make sure and verify UICs. We were talking about the May 10th date. That's when all of your students need to be enrolled in one class with correct UICs and the MSDS information is up to date. You can look at this UIC record in your reports and it will give you bad UICs or invalid UICs. So if you want to generate that record, you can do so by selecting that option here under audit reports. If you want to look at a list of UICs with no current MSDS in the system, you can select this report and select the building. And then it will populate with all of that information here. So this is UICs with no current MSDS on record. Again, for the May 10th, where you have to have your students tied to one course with valid UICs and up-to-date MSDS records, you can utilize these reports. Missing grades is another report that you can use if you want to do reviews going forward. Again, checking off all of the tasks for the spring. You want to make sure that you have your courses in. You want to make sure that you have your students in. All of their UICs are correct. And there's records in the MSDS. You want to make sure that your students are tied to courses. And all of that information is what you're doing in this particular period up into the next collection that's in June. If you have migrant students, or if you're not sure if you have migrant students, you can use this migrant student report, and this will generate all of the migrant students, and you can verify that information by using that report. We showed the migrant student guide and how you have to input the M6 clock hours, or the I believe the M6 course information. So you want to make sure that you utilize the migrant student report if you're not aware if you have migrant students. And it's just taking a little bit of time to load, but you can select that report to view the migrant student data in the system. The next section, oh, there it is. So select your building. And this is the migrant student report. So as you can see, again, this is a demonstration. I don't have actual data in here tied to actual UICs. So it shows that there are no migrant students in this particular district for my demo. But if you use that with your credentials, you should pull up the information if you have it. If you don't have it, it will list that as well. And then you don't have to go through all of the process for a migrant student. And that, again, is the migrant student report. You can look at the program and student reports. If you want to look at enrollment history, student advancement, export, all of this information will be useful if you just want to track advancement. The program and course reports, again, these are very large reports, like the 3-year instructional design report has information in it from the past 3 years. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that when you pull up that report. These are all exports into Excel, so you can print this information for your records. You can look at a list of courses by building if you want to view active courses within the building. So all of these are tools that you can use to verify that your courses, your students, and your staff are all linked. Work-based learning by PSN, you can select this here if you want to view work-based learning by program serial number. So again, this is a program and course report, and this will list that information. So then you would select your building, and then it would populate that report. You can select the years over here if you want to go back and view previous year information. But again, default is to current year. Or previous year. This is 22, 23. And this shows the enrolled students, the program PSN, the program serial number, the enrolled students, and then the work-based learning, the students with work-based learning events. So this is by zip code, and it outlines all of that information if you want to review. Again, this is for 22, 23. So once you put in all of that information, it will generate the report for the next year. So this year's will be on next year's information. Same thing for credentials. So if you want to have all of that information to view, it is available under, this is again, reports and then building reports. So right now, all that we ask that you do, I'll go back to our presentation here. Is that you verify that your courses are entered in. We showed you how to do that using your managed courses screen. You want to make sure that your teachers are assigned to your classes. Again, those are in the managed courses. If you're importing courses, you're putting in the PIC numbers in your Excel files. You want to make sure that your students have valid UICs using that UIC checker in the managed student screen or utilizing the reports that we just showed. You want to make sure that your students are enrolled in the correct courses and that the segments and competencies are verified, and that's using the managed student screen. Start making sure that your credentials are linked correctly. Again, portion of your credentials are due in June, but finalization is until August. So you may not know that information right now, but just make sure that you're checking with your instructors and your teachers for that information, as well as your work-based learning experiences. And we showed how to enter in both of the credentials and work-based learning. So again, nothing is due within these first couple of weeks. All of this information is due by the June date. We'll go back to our looking ahead page here, our slide. And again, the end of the year completion date to your CPIT as a building reporter, it's due to your CPIT by June 13th. And then your CPIT administrator submits it to OCTE by June 20th. Again, all of the information that I covered today is from the view of a building reporter. We do have level 5 fiscal agent and CPIT administrator training that takes place on May 29th. We ask that if you have not signed up for that you sign up for that, because there's some information in there that level 5 fiscal agents as well as CPIT administrators would have to do going forward into the enrollment completion. They have specific tasks, so we cover that in those trainings. Again, I can't stress enough the enrollment deadline for the May 10th. All students must be enrolled in at least one CTEIS course section with correct UICs, and MSDS fields must be up to date. And I was informed also that this includes homeschool students. If you're home, make sure that they have, if you have any students that are homeschooled in your caseload, you want to make sure that they have the current UIC information. If you are unsure of that information, you want to contact their home school. And that's the UIC resolver in that home school, in that career center or building or sending building. So again, that's for homeschool students, but you want to make sure that all of the students have correct UICs. for that May 10th date. And again, all of this information is accurate, and it's needed for funding. So that May 10th is very important. And I do understand that there's a question in the chat. The June 13th date is tight when some districts haven't finalized grades. I do believe that you can contact OCTE, and they are aware of this information. That would be Joan Church. If you have any questions regarding specific dates, if you're running past the deadlines for the enrollment completion, you need to reach out to her, Joan Church. And I'll put that back on the screen here, her email. So that is the churchj@michigan.gov, or you can call her. If at any point you're in the application and you run into technical issues, please feel free to reach out to the help desk. That's the CTEIS help desk. And that information is on the screen as well. And they're very helpful if you have trouble with your imports, if you have trouble with any errors or technical issues regarding the actual CTEIS application, you can contact the help desk. Okay, so we have come to the end of our training session. We thank you for your time and attention. Diana has dropped in the chat our spring training evaluation link. We would really appreciate if you would click on that link and let us know how we're doing in training. Once you click the link, you will be prompted to answer a few questions. We would really appreciate your input. Once I end the actual session here, you will be prompted to do that as well. So if you want to hang out until the end of the session, you can do that and it'll come up automatically. But if you need to go, you can click that link and fill out that information, and we would really appreciate your input. I will stick on for a few moments to answer any questions that you may have regarding the topics that we discussed today. Again, please make sure that you utilize the support.cteis.com site for all of the guides and templates that we went over. And make sure that you sign up for the next training session. Again, we will go into specifically how to review your information that you put into the system and how to submit that information. So how to submit to your CPID administrator will be covered in the next training. So we want to make sure that you sign up for that training session. I believe, excuse me, that it begins on April 16th. And there are a few sessions that are open there. So again, I'm going to stay on for a few minutes. Thank you for your time and attention. If you need to leave, you can do so. We thank you, and we will see you in the next training. If you want to, I see there's in chat. If you, this is my if you want to contact me and send me the information through email, I can possibly put that in the information for the next training. If I have to run that information by our programmers and verify the information that we provide at training, but I can look into that. I would appreciate that if you can. My email is in the chat, and we'll put it on the spring tasks information. If they say that's okay. Okay.